What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. The market had an amazing day today as Facebook stock boomed to the upside. Apple and Amazon aren't looking too bad in after hours either. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Amazon and Apple stock, how their earnings were, and just some other important stocks for tomorrow. But Tom, we're not going to waste any time. I know everyone has their eyes on Apple. What is going on with their earnings?
Yeah, this was an amazing earnings beat, Mike. They pretty much beat across the board. Of course, they lost on some things, but man, their yearly revenue was great and they reported so many awesome things. And you can see their stock really exploded in after hours. It got all the way up to 170 and then got rejected right there. Wonder where this one's going to open up tomorrow, Mike, but I'm really glad to see it green. Hopefully this starts bleeding into some other parts of the market as well. I know lots of stocks have been falling off lately, so hopefully Apple helps them. But Mike, these numbers were great. Tim Cook gives the peace sign, and man, he definitely deserves it. He's been killing it the past couple of years. Their EPS came in over the estimate there at 1.52 versus 1.43. Their revenue beat as well by almost $3.5 billion, just about $97.28 billion versus $93.89 billion expected. So that was big. Their iPhone revenue's up. Services revenue is slightly up. Of course, their other products slightly came under the estimate. But Mike, one thing I really liked was their Mac revenue came in pretty high here at 10.44 billion versus 9.25 billion expected. So overall, they did great. And even their gross margins topped estimates a little bit.
Yeah, and we can't forget about that $90 billion share buyback announcement too. So Apple will be buying back $90 billion worth of their own shares. You know, it's quite a bit of money. But then again, Apple is a ginormous company. So still, either way, it's good to see whenever companies buy back shares, it is very good for investors because you end up owning more of the company, and it's just a really good sign. It also increases some of the fundamental metrics that people use to measure performance. So that's awesome. On top of that, Tom, they raised their dividend by 5% to 23 cents per share. So that's another good thing for Apple shareholders. And then on top of that, we could see that the Apple CEO, Tim Cook, said that they saw a record, or they're seeing a lot of switchers, basically people who had Androids are switching over to buy more iPhones. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that really is. You know, I used to be an Android person a couple years ago, but I switched over to the iPhone, and I'll tell you what, it's great. I actually got the new iPhone 13 Pro, and I'll tell you what, it's a pretty good phone there. So looking at these numbers, Mike, they're awesome. I was glad to see them increase that iPhone revenue. I was also glad to see them doing well with the MacBooks because, as we know, they started making their own chips. They used to buy a lot of chips from Intel, but they started making their own M1 chips. So it's cool to see that those sales were up 15% year over year and that they also beat that expectation along with those switchers, Mike. Those switchers with the Androids are big as well. And it's just awesome to see these types of numbers. Like I said, I hope this helps the market kind of go up here because as we can see, the SPY actually had a pretty good day today. And you know, Apple might help some of these other tech companies turn back around too, especially some that might have been falling off the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I bet a lot of these Apple shareholders are happy. You know, $90 billion in share buybacks, a higher dividend, earnings beat, stocks moving up. It's like, there we go.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Mike, that dividend is big, but obviously those share buybacks are huge as well. As we know, like Apple spent a lot last year on buybacks as well. And, you know, their stock performed quite well. So glad to see them continuing to do this. It's obviously just going to help, like you said. And man, they are just killing it. And I know that they've been a powerhouse. And of course, they're the highest or the most valued stock on the market as far as market cap goes. So whenever we look at them on the daily chart tomorrow, they're going to open up around like 167, 170 up here. They're getting fairly close to all-time highs, Mike. They're only $10 away now if they open around 170.
Yeah, so I'm very glad that Apple is booming up. It's really going to set the tone with these other stocks in the market. Facebook had an amazing day today, up around 18%, and it ended up bringing in a lot of other buying pressure just across the board. So there we go. Tom, on the other hand, Amazon earnings are The stock isn't doing as well as Apple. We'll say that.
Yeah, it's definitely not doing as well. It's actually falling off quite a bit here in after hours. So let's kind of talk about this a little bit because Amazon didn't do terrible, Mike, but they did have one bad thing that kind of set their earnings apart from almost any other company besides Ford. So whenever we look at Amazon here, their numbers weren't bad, Mike. Their revenue came in at 116.44 billion versus 116.3 billion expected, which is right there. Their web services came in right around the expectation. Their advertising did come just under, which is not good to see. But the big thing, Mike, is that they had a loss per share of 7.56 whenever they were expecting a gain of share of $8 and something. And to see them fall off that bad is terrible, Mike. But the main reason that this happened is because they actually recorded a $7.6 billion loss on their Rivian investment, which is pretty crazy, Mike. I know if we go look at Rivian on the yearly chart, we can definitely see why Amazon's been losing on that investment. I mean, Rivian has been falling off the table in a big way. I know Ford also had a pretty big stake in Rivian there, and they also took a hit too. But this really seemed to hit Amazon pretty hard.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Amazon owns between 18 and 20% of Rivian. And just like Tom said, Rivian's valuation has been getting decimated lately, which definitely played a role in Amazon's earnings. So that was pretty tough. But besides that, Tom, like Amazon's earnings weren't terrible, like you said. So, I guess we'll keep our eye on it.
Yeah, and the main thing that also caused them to fall is that their expectations or their guidance for the future is also not the best. You can see down here they expect second quarter revenue of 116 to 121 billion, while analysts were projecting 125.5 billion. So it looks like they might come in under this on the second quarter. So we're gonna have to watch that. But their stock's down a lot in after hours, Mike. And whenever I look at Amazon here, it looks like they're going to open up around 2,600, which is all the way down right by some of these major supports, even slightly below. So this is worrying here in the short term. And like I said, that EPS coming in at negative 7.56 is just insane with the way Rivian played out.
Yeah, and another thing with Amazon is they have that split coming up in early June too. So that's just another catalyst to keep on the radar because, let's say Amazon does their 20-to-1 split, it'll make it a lot easier to just trade options on this one, and it'll make it a lot easier, like psychologically, to pick up shares on it for a lot of people.
Yeah, it definitely will. A lot of retail traders, they see Amazon trading it $2,800, $3,000, and they're like, man, I'm not, buying any Amazon. That's gonna wipe me out if it ends up going down. But I know you can always buy fractional shares and stuff, but you're right. It's all about that like psychological game. And I hope Amazon starts to hold some of these supports soon, Mike. If we start breaking below some of these areas like 2,600, we might end up coming back down to 2,500, which was a pretty big area in the past. So definitely doesn't seem like a bad level there. And man, their earnings, like you said, they weren't terrible. It was just that big investment with Rivian that really hurt them. So I hope they can come back in the future, and I think they will. They did very well during COVID.
Yep. And then I saw there was some interesting news with like Twitter and Elon. So what's going on there?
Yeah, so Twitter stock, they actually reported earnings this morning, Mike, and they're starting to fly back to the upside, which is interesting. And of course, this is just days after Elon Musk is going to be taking over Twitter, or after that bid got accepted. So definitely interesting here, but their stock came right back to the upside after missing on earnings, believe it or not. So if we go ahead and like eye up some of these earnings plays, Mike, on the calendar here, you can see like Twitter reported today along with a lot of these other stocks, but next week, Mike, is going to be even crazier. And I'm just curious to see how some of these earnings end up affecting these other companies. Like obviously Twitter was just insane today with the price action. Like I said, they kind of missed on earnings, but you can see that their EPS ended up beating, and it's just nice to see the stock up to end the day. Like I said, initially there was some selling pressure though, which was worrying, but it ended up ripping right back up, and we almost touched $50 actually.
True. All right. So overall, it was a pretty good day in the market. A lot of stocks boomed up. Tom, do you have any favorite setups that you're watching?
Yeah, a lot of these stocks were booming. Like you said, Mike, a lot of the growth plays, even the SPY itself was looking very bullish today. Some of my favorite plays today, Mike, were actually AMD and NVIDIA. Some of these chip stocks started roaring right back up. And I know AMD has been getting destroyed lately, under $100. So to see them come up is pretty nice. They really broke out above a solid resistance level today at 88, started running up towards 90. So love that movement. Facebook's also doing quite well, Mike. And what I really like about this setup with Facebook, they're starting to double top right around this 209 to 210 resistance here. So this is going to be a pretty big level to watch for tomorrow. They did very well with earnings, and we're seeing Apple fly up tonight too. So who knows? Maybe that'll help Facebook go on another bull run tomorrow. If we break 210, who knows? It could definitely start moving, but lots of stocks did great today, Mike. Even Netflix started coming back a little bit, which was awesome.
It's about time. Another stock that I was really watching is Zoom, actually. So I saw just under $1 million come in the Zoom call options for the 100 strike in January 19th of 2024 expiration. So they looked pretty bullish to me. It looks like they're buying to open these call options. So, of course, a $1 million call option position that expires in like that has almost 2 years worth of time, and then that's at the money. You would think it's pretty bullish. Plus, when the stock's this low, so I'm also watching Zoom.
Yeah, that's going to be big, Mike. And like you said, they bought that at that $100 strike, and $100 seems like a huge level for Zoom. Even back in July of 2019, that was a big level for Zoom there. So I'm really glad to see him bouncing around 100. And with it holding the support, Mike, it actually doesn't look too bad. I don't know about you, but I might have to open up a sympathy play on that one.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, with that being said, I just want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day, which is Lex Mio in the Discord chat. Thanks for being a great active member of the chat. Tom and I really appreciate you. And Tom, it's now time for the momentum plays for tomorrow. And coincidentally, we actually have Zoom to the upside.
Yeah, so Zoom, go ahead and make them break out above 104, the high of day today.
All right, with the next one, we have Fiverr, also to the upside.
Yeah, Fiverr here. Go ahead and let's just make them break above 56.70, also right around that high of day there.
All right, and with the last one, we have Roblox, also to the upside.
Wow, like we said before, finally we're seeing some of these growth plays start to go up. I know Roblox was getting destroyed this week. Go ahead and make them break above 32.70.
All right, so we are watching Roblox, Fiverr, and Zoom for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. But Tom, like we already said, the market is looking pretty good. A lot of stocks are popping up. Would you mind showing us just some of the earnings that we have for tomorrow? I know it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, so nothing too crazy tomorrow, but there is some pretty big oil companies in the morning. So Exxon's going to report before open, along with Chevron. Colgate will be reporting as well. And then Mike, AbbVie's reporting, believe it or not. And I think that one's going to be really interesting to watch, because if we look at AbbVie on a daily chart here, I know that they've been really flying up lately, and they've been starting to dip back down a little bit, but look how overextended they've become over the past few months. This is going to be a really key earnings report for them, and hopefully it goes well, because with them being overextended, Mike, who knows? They might end up tumbling down if something misses.
Yep, true that. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Tom, we have to showcase that bot play before we close out. Our bot today called out the Intel 46 strike call options at $178 each, and it popped all the way up to $236 each. This is a 32.5% pop in just a couple hours. If you trade options, make sure to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Our bot calls out options day trades every single day. You also get access to swing plays. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long. You have access to an amazing private chat, a bunch of other custom bots, bonus day trades. You can cancel at any time, and we have a coupon running. So definitely check it out. The bot's pretty awesome, and you're not going to find it anywhere else. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's have a great Friday.